If we think for young people in particular going through key developmental stages, emotions are amplified, social networks are really important. And if you think again about that symbiosis that technology has with your connection and your social environment, if you suddenly remove that, and so I'm probably talking about if you remove that for good, completely banning phones or social media, that's literally going to feel like the end of the world for some young people. And that in and of itself isn't a practical solution for a well-balanced developing young individual who's going to then come into the adult world, into the working world, where technology is a necessity for so many job roles, for most job roles. That doesn't teach them skills or practical balance or a way of emotionally regulating themselves when they're on technology as well. I think when it comes to schools, my instinct is that over the next, I think within the next couple of years, we're going to see increasingly more schools within the UK. There has been sort of a cascade of them recently where they cut out phones within the school environment. And I think from a learning perspective, that's a really positive move. I think within the right environment, technology can be used smartly to enhance education. And that's from me, I'm not coming here as a teacher, but having sort of from the digital wellbeing side of it, I think if technology can be built into the education in a useful way, and there's boundaries around social media and technology use within schools, I think that's a good balance. Realistically, though, if we're thinking about a huge cohort of young people within a school, it might be easier just to say, well, actually, within these 6, 7 hours of the day, there is no phone use. That's a reasonable, wise decision for lots of people, and I think lots of senior leaders as well in that respect. And I think from when we then put it into the context of sort of responsibility for young people, and then again the argument becomes a little bit more nuanced again because we have to think about well, who's protecting young people when you think more about the online harms and harmful content and thinking about addictive behavior. It falls to sorts of school leaders, teachers, parents, governments, tech companies. And if tech companies aren't doing the right things to protect young people, then at somewhere within the sort of society levels, we have to be doing something more. So, and then I think the reasoning with it is that, we need to be cutting out phones from the school environment and have firmer boundaries on it. But my caveat with that is that you can't do that as the only thing. It's the same argument as the digital detox, because at some point, those young people are progressing into another really key transition period from sort of 16 through to 21, where a lot of life changes and they're going to be on technology and they're going to be developed, sort of transitioning into the workforce. And if you don't provide key digital resilience, psychological resilience skills for young people at those stages, emotional regulation skills, they're going to hit more barriers because they've just been let loose onto the devices and social media and they don't know what to do with it. And again, this is huge generalization because I think there are a lot of young people having done lots of work recently in schools. There are lots of very insightful young people, but then we think about the majority in the whole, don't we think about the general, the population. And I think although there are some young people who are really sort of wise and savvy in terms of how they're using these devices and their devices and choosing to step away in order to protect the way that they're thinking and learning, lots of people are completely on the opposite side of the spectrum and don't have the resources, don't have the structures to be able to look after themselves and don't know what they don't know, and it's through no fault of their own. So we have to be able to, one, keep them safe, but two, educate them successfully enough so that they are able to transition into adulthood wisely. And if I was I'm really passionate about this, if I was going to go one step further, if I look across the cohort of adults that I'm working with my company, Social Media Resilience, adults have no clue how to navigate the world of social media and technology and AI at all either. So how on earth are we expecting young people to do it and do it successfully without harms happening at a sort of well-being and psychological level?